I'm writing a letter. Hold on.
Okay.
Dear Santa. How do you spell sound system?
New sound system.
Can this really be happening? She's pregnant. I should leave her. Let her take the consequence. Run, start over. Who would blame me?
Is this really happening? I mean, who can I even turn to? What should I believe? Who will even listen to me? Will he stay? What if he leaves and I'm all alone? How will I even survive?
Not sure what to do. Should I stay? What will people say?
I'm not sure what to do. Can I even do this? Be a mother, especially if I have to do it on my own? What will people think?
Oh, what a dream. Well, I must see this through. I can do this. I'm strong. I'll withstand this. I cannot leave. I'll stay. She'll need me. They'll need me. I need to do this. I will come through this stronger. I'll be better for staying.
Oh, what a dream. I will do this. I will find strength that I didn't know that I had. And God is my support, and this journey will be the most important thing that I do in my life. I just know it.
It is mine to do. God, help me get past my small fears. Help me be the man that I know I need to.
The future and what's to come. It's about our future together. So, it's off to Bethlehem.
What are you talking about? We already live in Bethlehem.
What are you talking about? We live in Nazareth. We need to go to Bethlehem for the census.
I don't know what story you're talking about, honey, but we are in Bethlehem. You're pregnant, and the angel told me to stay with you, and we'll have the baby here.
What angel? No. The angel talked to me. The angel spoke to me in my dream last night, and he told me, do not be afraid. And then don't you remember, I visited my cousin Elizabeth, and we rejoiced that we were both pregnant together. Oh, you know how it is, ladies. The guys never get the details right. Just listen to my version of the story.
I don't know anything about an angel visiting you or Elizabeth, but I do know we need to be careful of Herod. The Magi told him the Messiah was born, and he is not happy.
The Magi? What Magi?
Remember, they left their gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
Gold, frankincense, and myrrh? Oh, no. I would have remembered gifts like that. That could change a person's life. Wait a minute, Doug. What story are you telling right now?
The Christmas story, Reverend? You know, birth of Jesus and all that. What are you telling?
Well, I'm clearly telling the Christmas story. I dressed for the event. I got the earrings. I got the skirts. Of course I'm talking about Christmas. Wait a minute. Exactly which story are you telling, Doug?
The story of Matthew. Which one are you telling?
The story of Luke. Oh, now I get it. Okay, all right, we've had a confusion here.
We have uncovered one of the most fascinating details about the Christmas story, which many people don't even know about. There are two very different versions found in the Bible. I remember when I first heard about it years ago how shocked I was. I'd always heard one story. When I did my deep study on this topic, which is to say, when I learned every Christmas song I could, well, that's how you all learned it, right? All the versions of the Christmas songs and movies and retellings virtually all blend the two together.
But when you really finally study this, and you actually pull out this book called the Bible, I don't know, maybe some of you have heard of it, but when I went to seminary, they made us actually pull that thing out and read the stories for ourselves. And lo and behold, there were two different stories. I never realized how characters were in one and not the other. I just thought everything happened in one nativity scene. So scholars tell us that it's virtually impossible for everything that happened in the two Gospels to be put together to happen in one story. Because these stories aren't meant to be history. Even when it comes to Christmas, we need to remember that we're reading the Bible, which had different authors of different books telling a different version of their story. Just like the telephone game, you remember something, you remember something. And so they wrote these two different versions, and they are part of the oral tradition, which was shared for decades before they were ever written down.
And nobody who was actually at the birth of Jesus recorded the details or took selfies. No, these stories are meant to be read at a spiritual level, like a newspaper accounting.
Not like a newspaper accounting, yes.
Oh,
not like a newspaper accounting. Yeah, Mary and Joseph, they didn't have pen and paper. They weren't writing down. They didn't have a baby book that they took all those selfies and put them in. No, it was told for decades before it actually was written down. So we're talking about two different gospels, two different stories that obviously share the same main characters, but change the details. So, Doug, you were reading Matthew. What's important about the Gospel of Matthew's version?
Well, talk about Joseph-focused. You connect the dream motif of the Hebrew script to Joseph. Herod, strong male. Mary, minor player. To stay would be a major decision. Magi follow the star and flee to Egypt.
You know, as I hear you talk, I feel like we are telling two different stories. None of those things happen in the Gospel of Luke. The Gospel of Luke is much more Mary-focused. Sorry, you can get out now. Now, there's only one mention really of Joseph, that he was my betrothed and that we traveled together. Otherwise, Mary's story. There's no dream for Joseph. There's a dream for me. You don't even hear about the struggle that Joseph went through.
So what are we supposed to make of all this? How do these two stories of two parents stay relevant today to each of us?
Well, I thought you'd never ask. Thanks so much. I'm wondering if your mic is still on.
It
went
goes on and off.
So there's that list for Santa. New sound system. Every week, Spirit helps us make the point. All right. So I thought you'd never ask. Everyone here knows, well, you're going to find out, but now that you're just getting to know me, you're going to find out I love Christmas. So does this guy here. So my apologies in advance if this is not your favorite season and I'm about to irritate you for 4 weeks, but this is my season. And it's not because of all the stuff that goes along with it. It's about the inner journey that is so important. Yes, I decorate my house, and yes, I will be wearing a different Christmas outfit for the next 3 weeks, and I encourage you to do the same. And I know that for some of us, this is your least favorite time of year. I've actually had people say to me at the last Sunday of November, goodbye, I will see you in January. Because they just don't want to be part of all of this. So if this is a rough time of year, I get it. And hopefully we can turn this around for you. And it can be a time of year that is healing and soothing. And I find that when we come and we get the message in here, and we kind of forget about the message that we get out there, it really helps change the season. And it brings it back. Because I really know that all of us have something that we can gain from this season. It's a time for all of us to spiritually uplift. It's a magical time of year because it's a universal time when traditions across the globe come and recognize the birth of light out of the darkness. We are all born this season. And we are all Mary and Joseph. For the next 4 weeks, for the next 3 weeks, we're going to be talking about the metaphysical meaning of Christmas and how does it mean something for me? How is it going beyond a story that I read and figures that I see under my Christmas tree? And how can it be a story about me? There is such a power in the story of this family. A man who has his whole life turned upside down. How many times has that happened to you? A woman who did not plan for a pregnancy, who did not plan for a family, who didn't plan for this direction, but she says yes to what Spirit brought her. And she finds that it gives birth to the most amazing child ever. My wish is that everyone here can see themselves in this story. You can see how you are a young, scared person at times, overwhelmed by the world. And you can see how you are a man who has had your whole world upended and yet find the strength and the faith and the courage to come through it.
Each of us is Joseph. We have our life planned out and then someone near to us changes the trajectory. We stumble at first. We want to run when it gets tough. We feel justified even, but we find compassion. We listen to God's guidance, and that tells us to stay strong and to stick with the difficulty.
Ours is a story of perseverance, of strength, of resilience. So in this Christmas season is a story to inspire us for how we live all year long. These were two real people. Sometimes we forget that. I know as I was setting up my nativity scene under my Christmas tree last night, they're cute little characters, and I put them in their little place, and it's a little storybook. And then you stop, and you go deeper, and you think about the fact that these were two real people who, whatever the exact details of their story, wow, their life was changed forever just by having a baby. That they lived in a time that was difficult and challenging. And we can start to feel a connection and they become alive. Two people. They had feelings. They struggled. They are role models for us. They seem like magical, mythical characters. It's when they come off the page and become real to us that we find their power. And perhaps they may even represent a parent to you. Maybe you had a great relationship with your parents, and this reminds you of that. Or maybe you had a challenge with your parents, and even to speak of them may bring a little tightness to your chest. Well, maybe Mary and Joseph can be the parents that you didn't have. Maybe they can be a substitute for you.
And then maybe you'll see that the parents you yearn for actually live in you already. Every Bible character represents a characteristic within us. The divine masculine and feminine are already in each of us. Celebrating this story every year reminds us of that. I've never considered myself the type who would ever be a father. And yet, as a teacher in an elementary school, I have 450 children who I've learned to be a father figure to. This story is alive and well in all of us now.
And Doug is a father figure to me, just as anyone can be. This is the gift of the season. Finding a connection for yourself in the stories. Finding the truth in your life of this Christmas story. That's why I love it so much. That's why I can't imagine why anybody wouldn't want to embrace and celebrate this season when you get at the kernel of what's really there for you. Beyond the lights and the festivities, as much as I love them, they are only there to remind me and to pull me into the truth behind that. They are meant to show me the power of the season within me.
We invite you to find that gift for yourself. We bring together all our divine natures into one and give birth to something greater. Physically and metaphysically, we rise above limitations to give birth to our own divinity. When you face a challenge, an irritating family member, a difficult boss, losing your job, a physical disappointment, you can pull from the strength of this story.
You may even look at them as a Herod. They may represent Herod for you, and there may be a fleeing from a situation, a fleeing in consciousness of an old way of doing something. And then getting in touch with the spiritual strength, you come back from Egypt. That's our story, over and over again. It's also seen every day. Just imagine any mother caring for her child, worrying about her child, hoping that she will grow. Imagine any father doing the same thing, worrying about where is the money coming from, wanting to be a good parent, having to change their life. Imagine anything that you've given birth to, an idea that you've given birth to, a job, a career, and a divine idea. There are periods where you're scared. There's periods where you walk away from it. There's periods where you feel like someone is attacking it, and then the Magi come. Then someone becomes an angel in a field and guides you out of that. That is what this story represents. So the treasure is in the connection to all that you have now. We can connect to these real people and find an inspiration for any aspect of your life. Find an inspiration in Mary and Joseph. And when life seems to be too much, when this season seems to be overwhelming, and I'm pretty sure that's going to happen to all of us at some point this month. You're going to think, I can't bake or eat one more cookie. Why do the Christmas lights never work when I first take them out of the box? and you have to run to Target. Anybody have this every year? I have to run to Target because, half those lights don't work. And then I found out they're actually meant to be disposable. So there you go. So, when those challenges come, or when you remember a loved one that isn't going to be here for you this year, and often at this time of year, that's what we remember, those challenges. And you can remember that you have this entire family of characters living inside you, that you have the shepherds and the magi and a loving mother. And if Joseph could look past his judgment about what happened to Mary, what judgments can we look past this year? What judgments in ourselves are we ready to let go of? What judgments about others, including they're celebrating Christmas wrong, they've got too much tinsel, they're not getting the meaning of the season. Hey, that's for them. I can let go of that judgment about Christmas and traffic and whether it's too much or too little. We can begin our end-of-year burning bowl service right now by being inspired for what Joseph did. He let go of a judgment that could really impact him, and he was able to find love. And isn't that the Christmas message for all of us?
That's what makes this season so special. All around us are reminders of the power we all possess to claim our spiritual freedom and approach everything in our life with the faith of this divine family that lives in you. Faith, hope, peace, joy are yours no matter what the outside appearance. I have very few outside decorations on my home, but the inside is decorated to within an inch of its life. I don't care what people see on the outside. No matter what the storyline, the real story is of your Christ being born again.
The Christmas message of love and strength are yours. You are the very gift of Christmas. You are the gifts that the Magi bring. You are Mary and Joseph, and you are the Christ child this season. And when we awaken to that truth, we uncover the true gift of the season. May you open the present that is the joy of this season, and may it be your best Christmas yet.